Meeting of the Council of Heads of State SCO Members. In Astana, Vladimir Putin participated in the meeting of the Council of Heads of State Members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO. The meeting was chaired by President of Kazakhstan Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. The heads of delegations of the SCO member states and leaders of the organization's permanent bodies attended the meeting. At the beginning of the meeting, the leaders signed a decision to grant the Republic of Belarus the status of a SCO member state. Following the meeting, the Astana Declaration was signed, and a number of documents were adopted and signed. Speech by the President of Russia at the SCO Summit. V. Putin, esteemed Kassym-Jomart Kemlevich Tokayev. Esteemed colleagues. First of all, I would like to greet all of you and, of course, President of Belarus Alexander Grigorievich Lukashenko on the completion of the procedure for admitting the Republic of Belarus as a full member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Russia attaches great importance to partnership interaction within the SCO. We are pleased to note that this interaction continues to develop steadily on the principles of equality, consideration of each other's interests, respect for cultural and civilizational diversity, and the search for collegial solutions to pressing security issues. Thanks to the active participation of our Kazakh colleagues, a truly solid package of documents and decisions has been prepared for approval at this Council of Heads of State. Their implementation will undoubtedly contribute to strengthening the role and influence of the SCO. The coordinated approaches of SCO countries to key aspects of the global and regional agenda are reflected in the Astana Declaration, which is being submitted for approval at the summit. It further highlights the commitment of all SCO participants to the formation of a just multipolar world order based on the central role of the United Nations, international law, and the aspiration of sovereign states for mutually beneficial partnerships. Long-term guidelines for further deepening interaction not only in politics and security but also in the economy, energy, agriculture, high technology, and innovation are contained in the draft decision on the development of the SCO development strategy until 2035. This is important for deepening practical cooperation in all areas within the orbit of our organization. Close economic ties bring obvious dividends to all participants. The facts speak for themselves. The average GDP growth of the SCO member states last year was over 5%, industrial production growth was 4.5%, while inflation was only 2.4%. Meanwhile, Russia's trade turnover with SCO states increased by a quarter. In this context, I would like to note that our countries are increasing the use of national currencies in mutual settlements. For example, their share in Russia's commercial operations with the organization's participants in the first 4 months of this year already exceeded 92%. I would like to remind you of Russia's proposal to create its own payment and settlement mechanism within the SCO. A significant contribution to the development of trade and investment ties in the SCO space is made by regular meetings of ministers responsible for the economic bloc, meetings of finance ministers and central bank governors. The Business Council of the organization is working dynamically, allowing the business circles of our countries to join mutually beneficial joint projects. The financing of such projects is closely managed by the SCO Interbank Association. Of course, one of the priority tasks of the SCO has been and remains to maintain security in the member states and along the external borders. Today's decisions on transforming the SCO regional anti-terrorist structure into a universal center that will respond to the entire spectrum of security threats, and on establishing an anti-drug center in Dushanbe, are aimed at this. The 3-year cooperation program we are approving in this area will also contribute to the fight against terrorism, separatism, and extremism. It is gratifying that SCO countries are consistently enhancing cultural and humanitarian cooperation. Contacts in science and education, environmental protection, healthcare, and epidemic control are developing. Tourism, sports, and youth exchanges are growing. The SCO University, which unites 77 universities from our states, is working successfully. Regularly held are university rector forums and education weeks, which help establish connections between students, teachers, business, and the public sector. The SCO Youth Council, created on Russia's initiative, plays a coordinating role in expanding youth contacts. This spring, the countries of the association participated in the World Youth Festival in Sochi and the Youth Conference dedicated to intercultural dialogue. We look forward to seeing representatives from all your countries, dear friends, in September in Dubna near Moscow at the International Youth Program SCO Business Incubator. Esteemed colleagues, in today's conditions, when rapid and irreversible changes are taking place in the world, the active and proactive position of the SCO in international affairs is undoubtedly in demand. A multipolar world has become a reality. The number of states advocating for a fair world order and ready to resolutely defend their legitimate rights and traditional values is growing. New centers of power and economic growth are emerging and strengthening. We are convinced that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, along with BRICS, are the main pillars of the emerging New World Order. These associations act as powerful locomotives of global development processes and the establishment of true multipolarity. A step in this direction is the initiative of the SCO member states for world unity for a just world and harmony, a decision on which we must make today. This initiative is clearly aimed at developing confidence-building measures and stability and security, primarily in our common Eurasian region, measures that would guarantee sustainable growth conditions for everyone equally, regardless of political and economic systems, religion, cultural characteristics, or cultural customs. By the way, in the same vein, Russia's proposal to create a new architecture of cooperation, indivisible security, and development in Eurasia, designed to replace outdated Eurocentric and Euro-Atlantic models that provided unilateral advantages to only certain states, is proceeding. The result of such a world order is known: an increasing number of crises around the world, one of which is undoubtedly Ukraine. Russia has always stood for and stands for the peaceful, political, and diplomatic resolution of the situation in Ukraine, a crisis that arose as a result of the absolutely shameless policy of the United States led by their satellites. We have repeatedly put forward specific proposals in this regard. I remind you that in mid-June, we presented another option for a settlement, which if the Ukrainian side, and most importantly, its Western sponsors are ready to accept, it would allow the immediate cessation of hostilities, save lives, and start negotiations. Esteemed colleagues, we are grateful to the participants of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization for their proposals to resolve this conflict. Russia is undoubtedly ready to take your ideas and initiatives into account. We consider it correct that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization traditionally closely addresses the issue of Afghanistan. We support the idea of resuming the SCO Afghanistan Contact Group's activities. We believe this will contribute to further normalization of the situation in that country. Unfortunately, other potential hotspots remain on the Eurasian continent, in Greater Eurasia, where the escalation of conflicts threatens chaos and instability. First of all, of course, this is the Middle East and specifically the situation in the Gaza Strip. History has clearly shown the inviability and counterproductiveness of unilateral attempts, particularly by the United States, to cut the Palestinian Gordian knot and the refusal to implement UN decisions, which clearly provide for the creation and peaceful coexistence of two independent and sovereign states, Israel and Palestine. Overall, issues related to ensuring security and stability both in the Eurasian space and in a broader global dimension insistently demand active involvement, energetic and balanced actions from the SCO and its member states, taking into account the aspirations of our like-minded countries from the global majority. Esteemed colleagues, as already emphasized, as the authority and influence of the SCO grows, interest in its activities from other states and international structures is also increasing. Many of them seek to establish an equal dialogue with our organization and join its work. Naturally, we need to carefully consider the substantial portfolio of applications from those wishing to cooperate with us in various capacities. In conclusion, I would like to thank our Kazakh friends for organizing our meeting and, of course, to wish success to the Chairman of the People's Republic of China, our friend Xi Jinping, and all Chinese friends, who will take over the chairmanship of the organization after this summit. Thank you for your attention.